Hello and a warm welcome to Nationwide on the NTA. I am Ifoma Ojinta. President Bola Tinubu has approved the takeoff of the first phase of the Consumer Credit Scheme, which serves as the lifeblood of modern economies, enabling citizens to enhance their quality of life by accessing goods and services upfront, paying responsibly over time. Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Chief Ajurin Gelali, in a statement indicates that the scheme also facilitates crucial purchases such as homes, vehicles, education and health care, essential for ongoing stability to pursue their aspirations through responsible repayment. The President, he says, believes every hard-working Nigerian should have access to social mobility, with consumer credits playing a pivotal role in achieving this vision. Spelling out the Nigerian Consumer Credit Corporation's mandate to include strengthening Nigeria's credit reporting systems, ensuring every economically active citizen has a dependable credit score, offering credit guarantees and wholesale lending to financial institutions, dedicated to broadening consumer credit access today and promoting responsible consumer credit as a pathway to an improved quality of life, fostering a cultural shift towards growth and financial responsibility. The statement also notes that in line with the President's directive to expand consumer credits access to Nigerians, the Nigerian Consumer Credit Corporation Credit Corps, a portal for Nigerians to express interest in receiving consumer credit, has been launched. Working Nigerians interested in receiving consumer credits can visit www.creditcorps.ng to express interest. The deadline is May 15, 2024. The scheme will be rolled out in phases, starting with members of the civil service and cascading to members of the public. The federal government is putting plans in place to tackle poverty and insecurity head-on in Nigeria through financial inclusion for all Nigerians. Deputy Chief of Staff to the President, Ibrahim Hassan Hadejia, at a press briefing said there are high-level talks to unveil a roadmap for integrating the unbanked Nigerian population into the formal financial system. This is coming ahead of a national stakeholders workshop on financial inclusion, restating the Tinubu administration's commitment to an all-inclusive Nigeria.
Modalities of economic and financial inclusion as a panacea for poverty and security challenges in Nigeria. Proposed modalities for transforming to a consumer credit economy for inclusive growth in support of the Renewed Hope agenda. It will also flag off training of financial inclusion agents and experts to address the capacity gap across the 774 local governments in Nigeria.
So financial inclusion is going to be an agenda item at the National Economic Council to ensure that both the federal as well as the subnationals have done their own bit in order to ensure successful implementation of the financial inclusion agenda.
Financial inclusion means that if you are in a village and you need a loan of 10 million, there's someone physically in that village who is competent and has been trained and certified to help you access that kind of financing. That is one of the gaps that the private sector wants to work very closely with this government to make inclusion a reality in practice.
The two-day workshop, scheduled for Thursday, April 25 and Friday, April 26, 2024, at the Banquet Hall of the Presidential Villa, aims to sensitize stakeholders and chart a course for accelerating financial inclusion efforts nationwide. The Ministry of Solid Minerals Development has revoked 924 dormant licenses with immediate effect. Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, announced this at a press briefing in Abuja.
Although a total of 963 licenses were published and notified of the threat of revocation, no fewer than 39 either moved to site immediately or convinced the authorities of the challenges which hindered the operations. In view of the above, which shows our adherence with due process and fair consideration, and in line with the standard policy of use it or lose it, I hereby revoke the 924 dormant licenses with immediate effect. These include 528 exploration licenses, 20 mining licenses, 101 quarry licenses, and 273 small-scale licenses. Issued a policy of allowing those whose licenses were revoked to make restitution. The highest, which is the mining license, will attract a restitution to the federal government of 10 million per license, per revoked license. Now, for the small-scale licenses, it will be 7.5 million restitution or fine for reinstatement. And for the exploration license, EL, it will be 5 million.
And to judicial matters now, key players in the justice sector have reaffirmed their commitment to carry out the needed reforms in the sector. This is a result of the key players in the justice sector at the ongoing National Summit on Justice 2024 in Abuja. The bar, the bench and other stakeholders are of the opinion that the development will protect the fundamental rights of the people and uphold the rule of law. Key players also identify the independence of the judiciary as the pivot for the integrity of the justice sector. With the theme, Repositioning the Justice System, the two-day national engagement is expected to produce National Justice Policy 2024. Meanwhile, the trial of a suspected land racketeer, Idowu Akomolede, continues before the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, Kurudu, Abuja. The defendant is facing charges of allegedly using forged land documents to dupe unsuspecting members of the public and intimidating those who complain about his activities. He has been in remand after pleading not guilty to the charges, but his defense team on Wednesday applied for his bail on compassionate grounds. Despite oppositions from the police prosecution, the court used its discretion and granted Akomolede bail in the sum of 10 million naira and 2 sureties.
Series of documents that were presented as proof of ownership by the said defendant, which appeared false, and we are on the verge of getting our ruling.
I'm very happy. We prayed for it and we moved our motion.
Proof of evidence tendered before the court, the police stated its intention to end land racketeering in the FCT. The matter is adjourned to June 24 for continuation. And now to legislative matters. The Senate Committee on Capital Markets has engaged stakeholders towards boosting exports of agricultural products. The meeting, attended by Minister of State, Agriculture and Food Security, Sabi Abdullahi, dwelt on leveraging Nigeria's agro potentials to increase revenue through exports of raw materials.
So we are ramping up dry season farming. We are also providing more support to farmers now so that more farmers will be incentivized to go back to land. And we are also looking at the possibility of many of our institutions that have land, which they can also bring into production. So these and many more are the things we are doing. And of course, the President is also upbeat about our low mechanization. And so we are having programs to deal with increasing our mechanization.
Chairman of the Senate Committee on Capital Markets, Senator Osita Izonaso, says Nigeria's commodity exchange market should be critically assessed for standardization.
As a way of getting revenue for the country. And why are we doing more of importing finished products and also exporting finished products? We should be able to deal with the issues of exporting the finished product instead of exporting our raw material. Even in crude, we export crude only for us to bring it back into the country as a finished product. That should stop.
The issues that have to do with the legal framework was discussed extensively, and how to make amendments to legal framework to forestall leakages in Nigeria's revenue space, and also the issue that has to do with exports. How do we ramp up exports? How do we create an enabling environment for ease of doing business in the agri space?
In the meantime, the 10th National Assembly says it will strive to provide legal framework that will regulate the adoption of artificial intelligence in the country to maximize on its benefits. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, said this in a message to the 2023-2024 matriculation of National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies in collaboration with the University of Benin. Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports.
180 students matriculated to study various courses in NILS from the University of Benin. They are to undergo Master's degree in Constitutional Law and Development, Masters in Legislative Studies, and Masters in Elections and Party Politics, among other courses. Speaker Abbas, representative, says the Parliament is aware of the global advancement using artificial intelligence.
In this direction, NILS is expected to look into the possibilities of providing research-based intellectual support to facilitate the actualization of this very important modern process.
That the Institute does not tolerate indiscipline in any form. As students of our great institution, we are confident that you will adhere strictly to the rules and regulations contained in the student handbook.
We shall continue to ensure that the temple is sustained and that our students get the best in academic fulfillment and character molding.
At the end of the exercise, a clarion call was made to offer best students opportunities at NILS, as the Institute had invested in a number of resources to ensure equal opportunity for all. Meanwhile, a two-day training workshop for sergeants at arms, chamber assistants, and other paramilitary personnel and legislative aides of the National Assembly gets underway in NILS. Abuja, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
Very soon, secondary schools in the country, especially the dilapidated ones, will be given facelifts by the federal government. This is coming from the Executive Secretary, National Commission for Senior Secondary Education, Dr. Iyela Ajayi, who visited Nasarawa State Ministry of Education to discuss areas of collaboration and implementable strategies. The Permanent Secretary, Mohammed Sani Bala, who received the team, promised the ministry's maximum support.
50 senior secondary schools in this country are going to benefit in the first phase. And I'm happy to inform you, sir, that Nasarawa State is among the beneficiaries. We have come to plead with you to seek your cooperation, to give us the maximum cooperation, to give the consultants maximum cooperation, so that the project will be fully implemented.
We have a smooth sail as far as the delivery of this intervention, and very many to come are concerned. Thank you.
Thereafter, the Executive Secretary and Permanent Secretary of the State Ministry of Education headed for Government College Nasarawa, an old college in the country, which is one of the 50 secondary schools slated for the intervention. Now, prenatal reading, which involves pregnant women reading to their unborn babies, has been revealed as a good way to imbibe the reading culture in children. This was at the Nigerian Copyright Commission marks this year's World Book and Copyright Day in honor of Professor Wole Soyinka, who they refer to as the tallest Iroko tree in the forests of literature. Grace Ayonleke reports that the commission used the occasion to adopt the birth date of the Nobel laureate, 13th of July, as Reading Day in Nigeria.
The 2024 World Book and Copyright Day, tagged Read Your Way, celebrates literature of all kinds while encouraging optimum reading enjoyment, especially as the reading culture is gradually threatened by prevailing shifts in the social, economic, and educational dynamics.
Reading is a culture, and if you want to stick to that culture, you just have to continue.
Tangible literatures must be given to children. It's a strategic plan that in the school we are going to have subject that is called reading.
Reading starts from the womb till various stages of life.
Establishing that reading is a foundation of all learning, it is important that authors and creators are duly recognized and protected by the copyright laws. Thus, the Nigerian Copyright Commission (NCC) calls on the public to join in the fight against piracy.
In most of the schools, we have a copyright club.
You run away from fake drugs. But when you see cheap pirated books, you embrace them. But by reading a pirated book, you are taken away from what would have gone to the author.
Embarking on an inclusive reading campaign, visually impaired students also read to the audience. In recognition of his contribution to the literary world, this year's Book and Copyright Day is dedicated to Nobel laureate and UNESCO Goodwill Ambassador, Professor Wole Soyinka, on the occasion of his 90th birthday. In Ibadan, Grace Ayonleke, NTA News.
We now pause for some messages. The news continues shortly in Just with Felicia as our guide.
Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Welcome to Jos. More successes are being recorded towards winning the war against insurgency, as 7 bandits have surrendered weapons to the Plateau State government. The Commander Operation Rainbow and Special Advisor to the Governor on Security, Brigadier General Kakji Shipi, said this while briefing journalists in Jos. Ndenyang and Dayabagang reports.
Plateau State Commander says the voluntary surrender of arms by the bandits was as a result of the negotiation by the state government with the bandits in its resolve to restoring peace and order in all parts of the state. While assuring that government is open to those who want to lay down their arms, he calls for collaborative efforts and support of community leaders, security agencies, and other stakeholders in the fight to ending insurgency.
A lot of kinetic and non-kinetic operations have been going on in Wase local government. The efforts of the government and the security agencies that are stationed here on the plateau. Kinetic operations were being undertaken, and a lot of these bandits have been chased out from within the boundaries of the state. Government is not unmindful of the fact that we're not just here to start engagement that will lead to just killings and killings. As a result, some of the criminals and bandits have decided that they've had enough of what's happening and they are ready to surrender.
He also confirmed the return of 7 AK-47 rifles, saying negotiations were still ongoing with the hope that more bandits will renounce violence and also turn in their weapons. In Jos, Ndenyan and the Abuja, NTA News.
And away from security issues to health. In commemoration of the World Malaria Day, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement, Abiodun Esiet, has carried out a campaign aimed at combating malaria in the north-central region. The campaign held at Datinkowa community in Jos. Ndenyan and Deabagang again has details.
The North Central launch of the Subnational Conversation and Citizens Action on Ending Malaria in the region has the theme, Change the Narrative Now, Engage, Protect, Integrate and Innovate. The campaign is a step in the collective effort to end malaria through active participation of communities in the zone, particularly Plateau State. Residents were mobilized to clear their drainages and clean their surroundings to enhance a clean and healthy environment towards eradicating malaria. Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement North Central, Abiodun Esiet, thereafter held a meeting with stakeholders saying significant progress has been made in creating awareness, expanding bed net coverage, and also strengthening the primary healthcare system in the state.
If we can prevent mosquito to breed in your neighborhood, why can't we do it instead of thousands of people die because of malaria? I will ask and also encourage people to protect their children.
Chief Nursing Officer with the Jos University Teaching Hospital restates the need for continuous collaboration and sustained effort in achieving the goal of a malaria-free Nigeria.
We encourage people to know that these treated mosquito nets are not meant for our garden protection.
Some stakeholders and participants appreciated the organizers for their advice and encouragement in the proper use of mosquito nets. A free malaria testing, diagnosis, and treatment was carried out for members of the communities. In Jos, Ndenyan and Deabagang, NTA News.
Those are the stories trending from here. Ifeoma is back to you in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Many thanks, Felicia. Now, beauty of immunization is that it has continued to save lives, that is millions of lives across the world. In fact, experts believe that the global vaccine drive of the second half of the 20th century, which led to the eradication of smallpox and great improvement in the fight against polio, can be classified among humanity's greatest achievements. As the world marks Immunization Day, Hingino John Adams examined its impact in ensuring a healthy nation.
It is 50 years into the expanded program on immunization, EPI. And since conceived, the world has switched from a horrifying position where parents feared the death of a child to where every child, if vaccinated, has a chance to survive and thrive.
Having developed vaccines for certain diseases, and there are quite a lot of diseases we are now protecting with vaccines, it's one way of guaranteeing that of the many things that can kill you, you've at least eliminated those risks.
Vaccines are not meant to make somebody impotent, infertile, and all those myths and rumor and a lot of misinformation about vaccines, they are not true.
The outbreak of COVID-19 was a setback to the progress already made in global immunization, leading to sudden outbreaks of diseases like diphtheria and measles. But the good news is that the world is getting back on track, with data from the World Health Organization showing improvement in global vaccine coverage, with 4 out of 5 children fully covered. Even with the improvement, government is not letting its guards down.
As a team in the health sector, we'll just double down to ensure that Nigerians get access to the most basic healthcare services, whether it's mothers, children, the elderly, the poor and vulnerable, to ensure vaccinations are available through the primary healthcare system.
As the world continues to battle outbreaks of vaccine-preventable diseases through campaigns, experts say traditional and religious leaders must join the fight for the nation to enjoy a healthier society. In Lagos, Hingino John Adams, NTA News.
Our next stop on Nationwide is our Maiduguri Network Center with Ladidi as our guide. Hello, Ladidi.
To Maiduguri. Borno State government is collaborating with National Board for Technical Education to certify graduates from ICT centers across the state. Governor Babagana Umar announced this during the inauguration of Gajiram ICT Center in Nganze local government area as part of his official engagement in the community. Mohammed Goni reports.
Gajiram ICT Center is one of the 21 of such centers already constructed by the Borno State government, designed to be replicated in all the 27 local government areas of the state. Governor Zulum's administration seeks to promote digital literacy across the state to enable citizens, especially youth, cope with the global reality of digitalization of almost every facet of human existence. The center in Gajiram has since enrolled the first batch of trainees in 3 categories, comprising school dropouts, civil servants, and others. Governor Bagana Umar Azulum, who emphasized the importance of digital literacy in all human endeavors, charged the trainees to embrace the training.
We are now acting with the National Board of Technical Education with the those that will be graduating in all our centers in Ghana. The good thing is that the class is spacious enough to accommodate more students. I think it can contain up to 100 candidates.
The governor also inspected ongoing construction of Mega Higher Islamic College in Gajiram and Gajiganna, where he commended the quality of work and assured the contractors that government will look into the concerns raised as a result of hike in prices of commodities. He also assured residents of Gajiganna who converged to receive him that government is aware of the challenges faced on their farms and is taking measures to addressing them, while tractors and other farm implements will be made available to them. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
Troops of Operation Hadinkai have rescued about 50 persons during an ongoing special operations at Tumbuktu Triangle in Damboa area of Borno State. The rescued persons have been handed over to Borno State government for further profiling and medical attention. Maimuna Garba reports.
The rescued persons comprised of 2 male adults, 14 adult females, and 28 children. Deputy Theatre Commander Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hadinkai, Major General Ken Chubu, said the rescued people are innocent victims of war rescued by troops in the theater of operations. He said the military has remained steadfast in delivering on its mandate and assured of its commitment to continue to adhere to the international best practices in handling persons considered as victims of insurgency.
The Nigerian project remains foremost to all of us. Let them come out. Let them come out and embrace peace, and we move forward.
Receiving the rescued persons on behalf of Borno State Government, Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, Zuwaira Gambo, said the rescued people will be given holistic medical attention, including mental and psychosocial support.
There's an excellent synergy existing between the Borno State Government and the military in particular, and of course other security agencies. And that is why we are recording successes, and that is why more of them are being brought out of the bush, and that is why there is excellent security. People are going to farm in Borno State.
The children, she disclosed, will be enrolled at a temporary learning center, and the women will undergo skill acquisition training, after which they will be empowered before relocating them back to their community. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
That does it from Maiduguri. Nationwide continues with Ifoma in Abuja. Ifoma is back to you.
Many thanks, Ladidi. Now, in collaboration with the Multinational Joint Task Force, MNJTF, the air component of Operation Hadinkai, and the Nigerian Air Force have destroyed terrorist hideouts in Damasak and Moba local government areas of Borno State. In a statement by NAF Director of Public Relations, Air Commodore Edward Gapquet, the terrorists had attempted to attack troops of Sector 4 of the MNJTF at Lada, a border town between Niger Republic and Nigeria, but were repelled, fleeing across the border into Nigeria. The fleeing terrorists, who were on 8 motorcycles, were later tracked to 2 locations situated at Zari village about 28 kilometers east of Damasak and Mala Alide in Mobba local government area of Borno State. The subsequent airstrikes under the watchful eye of Niger's intelligence surveillance reconnaissance aircraft struck the terrorist locations. Real-time ISR footage later confirmed numerous terrorists were eliminated and several structures within the targeted areas destroyed. Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji Ojo has reiterated President Tinubu's commitment to the security of Nigeria's borders. This was when he played host to a delegation of the International Organization for Migration led by its Chief of Mission, who briefed him on the organization's engagement towards enhancing the nation's borders.
One of our programs in cooperation between Nigeria and Niger borders was finalized recently. We have done a lessons learned workshop, exchanging with both sides on how we can continue enhancing the cooperation on border management between the two countries.
Tunji Ojo conveyed gratitude of the federal government over the IOM's support while assuring of commitment to issues of border security.
It has to do with national security. It's a national security thing, and as a government, it's important that the government takes charge of border, with the sort of seriousness. And I think the president is determined more than ever to ensure that we have secured and safe border.
Recall the assurance of the Minister of Interior that the recently installed e-gates at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport will be deployed this Wednesday as part of efforts to enhance border security. In the meantime, the Assistant Inspector General of Police, who represented the IGP at a dialogue on state police, has clarified that the views expressed at the dialogue were personal and not on behalf of the police force. This was when he reacted to his trending remarks at the force headquarters, Abuja. Francis Form reports.
The Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun at an event in Ogun State alluded to the fact that the Nigeria Police Force has not taken any stance on state police. However, barely 5 days after the IGP's position, an Assistant Inspector General of Police who represented the IGP at a dialogue on state police in Abuja expressed a contrary view.
Those expressions are my personal opinion to stimulate discussion.
The force assured that it will make its stance on state police known in due course. In another development, Ministry of Police Affairs has set up a committee that will review the Nigeria Police Force Trust Fund Act with a view to improving it for effective service delivery.
There are controversial areas around the sources of funding, especially Article number 4. Review it, Section 4. Review it and advise.
The 24-member committee is expected to submit its report in 2 weeks. Francis from NTA News.
African security managers and global partners have deepened concerns on the growing waves of terrorism and other violent crimes on the continent, leveraging on a high-level meeting in taming the acts, especially within the corridors of worst-hit countries. Leaders agreed that a more sophisticated framework should be designed and applied to deal with the high-level criminal engagement within African territories and collaborate with global partners for support in cracking down perpetrators. The meeting also advanced new strategies in overrunning terrorists and their crimes while building instruments that will target enclaves and embark on total disarmament of those engineering unrest of the continent.
Of the instruments adopted by the African Union, including the communique of the African Union Peace and Security Council and the United Nations Security Council, as well as relevant normative frameworks of all participating regional economic communities, regional mechanisms, aimed at addressing the scourge of terrorism and violent extremism on the African continent.
This pivotal gathering has engaged us in rigorous deliberations, addressing the complex challenges posed by terrorism and violent extremism on the African continent. You know the dangers it posed to us. Today, Africa is losing, including democracies. We are going through tough times, but I can assure you it's not going to be forever.
The two-day meeting on the counter-terrorism efforts by African leaders is, among other things, looking at a future that is free and safe from high-level criminal activities. Emerging trends in conflicts and violent extremism across Africa will require new strategies to resolve and restore peace in troubled regions, especially in West Africa, where terrorism is slowing down the pace of development. At the inaugural joint consultative meeting of the African Union and ECOWAS Mediation, Peace and Security Council in Abuja, delegates were seeking more impactful role for the AU in continental affairs. Kelvin Ebonai reports.
At the moment, conflicts and terrorism are the major challenges facing some parts of Africa. The impact on the economy of affected countries is enormous, but the situation in West Africa is the most challenging for the African Union because of the resurgence of coup with implications for counter-terrorism efforts. This inaugural meeting of the AU and ECOWAS Mediation, Peace and Security Council is therefore aimed at finding new strategies to keep the region safe, while sources of additional funding for counter-terrorism operations are to be explored.
The West African region is the most affected by the scourge of terrorism and violent extremism on the continent, in terms of attacks, deaths, and casualties. Together, we can reverse this unfortunate trend.
By aligning our strategies and actions, this consultation can foster a deeper understanding of regional security dynamics. We harmonize our efforts, aim at preventive diplomacy, and develop a more effective conflict resolution strategies, thereby ensuring that we have a more cohesive, comprehensive approach to regional peace, security, to ensure stability.
A resolution is expected at the end of the meeting. In Abuja, Kelvin Ebonwaye, NTA News.
Let's take another break on Nationwide. The news continues in a moment. Please stay. Thanks for staying tuned. Let's talk politics now. The 36 states and the FCT Working Committee's Forum Chairman of the All Progressives Congress has passed a vote of confidence on the Ganduje-led National Working Committee of the party. The forum says no amount of political distractions and anti-democratic strategies will succeed against the purposeful leadership of the party. Political correspondent Abubakar Akwanga reports.
Against the recent confusion caused by some alleged impostors from the opposition NNPP members in Ganduje ward of Kano State, citing court judgment for the suspension of APC National Chairman Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, the Forum of State and the FCT working committees of the party has passed a vote of confidence on its national chairman for continuity and progress of the governing party.
We bring the solidarity from the 36 states of Nigeria, including FCT, to tell members of the public through the media that are here that we are solidly behind you. Politicians to begin to use the judiciary to truncate this political process. Because what they intend to do was a coup. And we thank God that the coup had failed. But we are here to say that we are solidly behind you. Anytime, any day.
We know where we are heading to. We know our objectives, and we know how to achieve our objectives. That is why we have the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in our party. We have more state governments in our party, more senators in our party, more House of Representative members in our party.
The National Working Committee also received results from the outcome of the last Saturday APC governorship primary election in Ondo State that produced the incumbent governor, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, as a standard bearer. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, had its 98th National Executive Committee meeting last week, where it endorsed the continuation in office of the party's acting national chairman, Ambassador Umar Iliya Damagum, against agitation from some quarters for him to step aside. This development, observed by many as not in the best interest of the party, and the consequences are already playing out. Timothy Yusuf tells us more.
Few days to the PDP National Executive Committee meeting in Abuja, some PDP House of Representatives members under the banner of Opposition Lawmakers Coalition had threatened to dump the party if acting national chairman Umar Damagum was not replaced with someone from the North Central.
Immediate resignation of Umar Iliya Damagum as acting national chairman of PDP for anti-party activities and allow North Central produce the acting chairman as clearly stated in the PDP constitution, or watch us reconsider our membership of the party in the months ahead if the right thing is not done.
And that was not all.
Recalling the events that led to the ousting of the former chairman of the party in person of His Excellency Senator Yoshe Ayu, the current acting chairman has spent over a year in office. Whereas, as the usual practice of the party, the region from whence the national officer hails from should have produced a viable candidate to complete the tenure of the former national leader. Furthermore, the contentious issue surrounding the office of the National Secretary has regrettably sown seeds of discord within our party. The ambiguity surrounding this position has led to confusion and internal strife.
Like Wabara, so many others are also concerned about the party's inability to bring on board the replacement of Senator Yoshe Ayu from his geopolitical zone. Expectedly, some leaders of the PDP in Imo State, led by former Governor Emeka Ihedioha, have resigned from the party to express their anger at the direction of the main opposition party. The former Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives hinged his resignation on the PDP's inability to embark on internal reforms, enforce its own rules, and offer credible opposition to the ruling party. Also, Southeast Geopolitical ex-official member Stanley Ekeze announced his resignation from the party, and the Imo State legal advisor of the PDP, Kisinga Ikeokwu, has also resigned. They alleged that the PDP has lost focus at both the national and in Imo State. Timothy Yusuf, NTA.
And so other news now, the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF, has flagged off an international breastfeeding awareness campaign, which is part of its nutritional targets in Nigeria. During the ceremony at Bauchi State Government House, the UNICEF tasked the Nigerian journalists on the need to be more proactive towards achieving the campaign targets. Muazu Hassan reports.
Officials of the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF, were in Bauchi to ensure effective implementation of immunization and nutrition projects in Nigeria. The current status of the project took center stage at the meeting between the Bauchi State Government and the international organization.
300 primary health centers have received a sleep shot to run a drug revolving fund, so as to ensure supply of sustainable, affordable, and quality essential drugs and medical consumables. Therefore, the state government has become a willing partner.
The UNICEF has officially flagged off the breastfeeding awareness campaign in Bauchi State, which will be conducted across the country. Meanwhile, the UNICEF had held a media parley for further briefing on the aims and objectives of UNICEF in Nigeria.
Rely on you for amplifying the efforts, amplifying the call to the rights holder to the children who we owe a lot so that we do not leave any child behind from the basic services.
There has to be a better incentive, which is bringing the care to them closer, even if you have to bring skilled workers to them at home.
The UNICEF has also tasked journalists on the need to be at the forefront of the awareness campaign bordering on issues relating to immunization and exclusive breastfeeding. In Bauchi, Moaz Hassan, NTA News.
Let's now join Austin Edemodu for the latest in the world of sports. And that's it on Nationwide for today. We thank you for being part of it. I am Ifoma Ojinta. Bye for now.